Welcome Nick Hein here to the program today. UFC Fight Night 93 coming up in Hamburg, Germany. Tae Hyun Bang is his opponent. You're from Cologne originally, correct?
Yes.
How far away is Hamburg to Cologne?
If you go by car, it's about 4 hours.
So it's like the equivalent of LA to Vegas, essentially.
Yes, about the same distance.
How many of your family and friends are going to make the drive over to Cologne to watch?
Everyone. When the UFC is coming to Germany, which happens once a year, and not like, now the third year in a row, but beforehand there were some layoffs. Everyone is coming. So my family is going to be there. And to be honest, the whole German scene is going to be there. So the fans are going to crowd the Barclaycard Arena. It's the first event that is sold out in Germany, which is a great thing. So I expect fireworks.
If you don't know, just say you don't know. But there's a lot of politics involved in MMA being in Germany. Then all of a sudden it wasn't allowed in Germany, and then it's back in Germany again. And so part of the UFC not being there as often is because politically it was kind of tough to get in to make sure the events could go off without a hitch. Did you feel any of that pressure being a high-level mixed martial arts fighter in your home country, and they're kind of like, this week it's legal, tomorrow it's not legal?
Yes, basically there was my first fight in the UFC. It was also in Germany, in Berlin at that time, and I experienced a lot of that problems because I was basically the spokesman to show media and the public that this sport involves normal people. I was a former police officer, and I was in the German judo national team, also trying to make it to the Olympics. And suddenly, this clean guy, tries MMA and fights in the UFC, and what is going on here? And that draw a lot of attention. The media basically I was their favorite kid at that time, and they asked me a lot. And of course, some questions were not very professional, but I took the time and tried to explain it. So yes, I know about these problems, and especially that from the media and also the political side, there was a lot of fire against the UFC. So I know about that, and at the same time now I'm so happy because look, the show is going to be broadcasted in public television, in free TV. And then at the same time, it's the first time on German soil it's sold out. So basically, this is like Christmas and birthday at the same time. And I'm very excited.
Now, obviously, before the fans at home don't know that Nemo, your manager, was on. We're talking. You're in LA right now, doing some stuff, and then taking off for Germany here in a week or so.
Yes.
How difficult is it having a manager that is in a different country? Because time change and time zones and trying to get a hold of him. And Nima is one of those guys that travels a lot. So a lot of times he might be in Brazil, or he might be in Italy, or he might be over in Australia, but you got to get a hold of him. Has it been problematic, especially with you being the poster child? Is the reason why I'm asking for German politics. Has it been kind of problematic to okay, hold on, let me call my manager and make sure I should do this interview, I should talk to this person, and what the line is to keep MMA moving forward in Germany? Was it problematic at all trying to maintain that with Nima?
That's a very good and it's very interesting question, because when we got to know each other, we had some time. We actually met the first time at the beginning of last year in January, and then it took about 1 year to be finally signed. 1 week after I signed the contract, I wrote an article on my social media about the political situation in Germany that concerns the police force and laws. And this article went totally viral. It exploded in German media, and I was in Thailand at that time, and suddenly all German media wanted to have me in Germany in their television shows. And then it was just I just signed with Nima, and I called him up. It was in the middle of the night, and I said, "Okay, Nima, here's the thing. I think our relationship will get tested sooner as we thought. This is what happened." And for 1.5 weeks, it was 10 days straight. He had to coordinate. It was 5 media attendances per day with television, radio, and magazines in German. and all those guys, I referred to him, and he basically had to wake up during the night because that was their working time to coordinate everything. And I must say, it went very well. He did it like a champ, and now this is like, we went through this really tough, difficult time. Tough, it was just a little stressful at that. It wasn't tough, but stressful. It was tough for me. It was more tough for him because he had to deal with the German media, and now he basically he knows everyone in Germany, and not even concerning the MMA media. So I think we found our rhythm.
Now I have to ask. You talked about earlier that you used to be judo national. You were junior national team, obviously trying to make the Olympic team and the world team.
Yes.
Became a police officer, and then stopped being a police officer to be a full-time MMA fighter. But I got to think that in Germany, the pay for police officers is way better than the pay is in America for police officers, which also outweighs the pay that you get from fighting. Is that true that you would make a little bit more being a police officer than you were as a fighter at the very beginning of your career?
Yes, and not only that, it's at that stage that I reached as a police officer, you get a rent, guaranteed rent for the rest of your life. So whatever happens, any injury, if I get, knock on wood that this doesn't happen, but if I get injured and I can't work or train or do anything anymore, me and my family will get money and insurance for the rest of my life. I had that stage. And I'm the first police officer in history that quit his job because of sports. This never happened. I'm like when I finally did it, like there was what the bosses of the police, they like their jaws dropped because they didn't expect me that I would really do that, and they said this is something we have never heard of. Maybe somebody ever did, but it's not official. So it was quite, let's say, a sacrifice, and we had to go over this many times. My wife. And like my son, I have a 5-year-old son, and he's about to go to school, and it's a decision you don't only make for yourself anymore.
So that decision was super difficult. It wasn't like you woke up one morning and said, you know what, I don't want to be a cop anymore. I just want to be a fighter. You literally had to think about, I ain't going to lose a lot of money making this switch. Yes,
it was a tough time. It was before my fight in Texas in 2015 that the police said, this media attention and the fact that you are also like putting a lot of time in your training, we cannot work with that anymore. So they basically forbid me to fight. And also, I must admit, they said you can't go to Texas. But I went nonetheless. I had the fight, I came back, and then they gave me like a paper saying, look, from now on, you have this paper. From this day, you have this paper. You are not allowed to train, to fight, to have any connection, also like on a commercial basis, to mixed martial art or any kind of those activities. And that was like that is like the stop. And then I said, okay, I'm going to stop being a police officer.
Now, is that because obviously being an American, somebody comes to me like that is like, you can't, even if I'm a police officer and I'm doing my job, I'm there every shift, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I train, I fight separately. They, not to my knowledge at least, they can't come to me and go, you can't do this anymore. Like you have to stop, and you're not allowed to train anymore. You're not allowed to be associated with these people anymore. You can't do anything. Is that something that's common in Germany? Is that politically normal? Is that something that German companies would do? And if they don't want you to be a fighter?
Yes. There's absolutely no space for individuality when it comes to. I don't want to talk bad because still I'm I still feel with my colleagues. I still feel as a police officer. That's why my nickname is still the sergeant. But I must admit, when it comes to individuality and like that you can fulfill your, like, the police force is very, very strict. And I would say, like, many German companies work like this. You know, you are part of a company and not part of your own personal dream.
And every time I visit Germany, people would ask me, "What are German people like?" And of course, I'm in the English speaking areas. I'm not going to the straight German speaking areas because my father speaks German, but I can't. I have very very little understanding at all. And I always found German people to be very linear, very A to B to C to D. They could never jump a step. But that was why we have BMW. That's why we have Mercedes. Is why these things are so good. Is because that's the process and the thinking way of a person raised in Germany. I have a nephew and a niece that were both born in Germany. My brother was stationed there in the military, and they also, because they lived off base, they also have that mentality where things are very A, B, C, D for them. And it's interesting to hear differently how Americans can. If we can get to D quicker, we're going to jump to D quicker. Like we don't.
Yes.
But your society is very clean, and then for you to make the jump, lose the rent, lose the insurance, take a huge pay cut to go. No, I'm going to fight, and this is what I want to do with the rest of my life. Now, flash forward. Are you back to the income that you're making with when you were a police officer, or are you still trying to chase that money as well?
The thing is, first of all, I need to say and I felt like this very, very early in my career, that I'm a little bit like an alien. I'm not really like, it comes like, of course I have the German roots, and I'm also proud of that. And I'm like that I feel like being on time and doing something like, in a special order, you know, is like in my program. But at the same time, you know, being that individual that tries to dream, you know, the American dream, to make it from like the dishwasher to the billionaire, you know, that is something that is also in my program. That is something that really was so strong to make this decision. And of course, you know, you especially. You know that, man. The career, you know, you have been on the top of the game, and you know the way to this place. You know, it doesn't go linear. It goes like, and sometimes you don't see the aim anymore because you're looking down, because you just try to like dig yourself out of the dirt. And that is the moments, I must admit, that I'm sometimes thinking like, man, what did I do? Why didn't I just take the easy road? But then, you know, like my wife has been a big, she knows me from day one of my career. And she reminds me of that. She said, look what we went through. And now like we are so close to like fulfilling the dream, you know, and it's really like this. Like every time a door fell shut, God opened at least one new one. And to be honest, like, you know, my son, my wife, they are all with me. They're with me in LA. Before we were in Thailand. Sometimes we were in Japan together. You know, it's an adventure that we wouldn't have had if I would have stayed as a police officer. So yeah, we're happy.
Your wife and son travel with you to Thailand when you go for training camps. They're with you right now in LA.
Yes.
And they travel.
Yes.
So it's the perfect scenario. As a police officer, you'd be gone 12-hour, 14-hour days. God forbid something bad happens. We got to be gone for 24 hours because you got to handle the situation. You're gone. At least now you get more family time than most anybody else. Like you because they're with you all the time. That's awesome. That's way better. Yeah. That's way better. So yeah, maybe not so much money-wise. Not so much stability, because the way, you know, you get paid when you fight, you don't get paid when you don't fight, but definitely better family life because you're able to travel so much more and see more of the world. How many kids at 10 years old can say, oh yeah, when I was 5, I was in Thailand in a Muay Thai camp with my dad. Like no kids can't say that. He's in school and he's like, oh yeah, I've been there, I've seen that. You know, they're showing elephants on the thing. Oh yeah, here's a picture of me riding one. Like it's a totally different ballgame. Yeah, that's great.
Yes,
that's great.
Totally, I totally agree.
I'm sorry to get totally off track because it just interests me your raise and how you came through. And I knew that you were on the judo national team, but I did not realize that you were a police officer and a sergeant. I didn't realize you had gotten that high up in the rank. Mm-hmm. And so your story to me is very interesting. As a fan of the sport, as a fan of your fighting style, that it's like how you got to this space is no one knows that struggle and that holy crap, I'm giving all this up just to try this out, to see that maybe in my country right now isn't really legal. Let's see what happens. I could be jumping into something and be out of a job, be screwed. So we got to talk about Tae Hyun Bang real quick. I like to ask a lot of the fighters, when Nima finally told you, hey, this is the guy that you're going to fight, were there other names that he sent to you as well? And you're like, okay, this is the guy I want to pick. Did Nima have that process where he picked the fighter already so you didn't have any of that headache? Or was there only one name given to you from the very beginning that went, UFC gave Nima a name, that was the name, and that was it?
I must admit, I don't really know if, did you send me that or did Joe, Joe send it directly?
And we liked the match.
Yes, so it was only one name that we got, and I saw it and I said, yes, get that name. But that was before I got the clarification. Because I had to pull out the fight before because of a herniated disc. So I was in Hamburg at that time promoting the event, not knowing if I could attend it because like 2 weeks before I couldn't fight in Rotterdam, and I was still in like, how do I get this done? And then they said, look, if you get the clarification, we will get you on the Hamburg card, and this is the opponent. And I looked at the opponent and I said, yes, I want him. I called Nima and I said, please, let's even, like, if they have to do a surgery and implant an iron bar in my neck, I don't give a damn. I want to be on this event. And that was how it went down. So the major struggle was not like to find an opponent, but to get this fixed.
To be healthy enough to compete. That's
yes.
Awesome. And I know a lot of times it is difficult to find opponents, and people drop out, and then there's visa issues trying to get into Germany, and there's visa issues of people trying to come. They get there and all of a sudden they can't compete. Now with USADA, there's a whole new problem because guys that believe they're doing everything correctly, we've seen 6 guys now have all got hit for some weird something in their supplements. So there's always this change up that always happens now.
Yes.
It's got to be frustrating for you as a fighter to know you have an opponent, know you have a date, know it's in your home country, and still not be sure if you can fight or not because the doctor still has to clear you.
Yes.
How many sleepless nights did you have getting ready to go see that doctor for that final checkup before he would write the paper to clear you?
It was actually here in Los Angeles, and so I had to fly to the States, and it was really like to be honest, the day of when I knew they would look it up again. Then I see if my physiotherapy, like also under the MRA would look differently, like this area, and I was really like, because I know even if you have good intentions and you do everything right, reality is hard as It just, you look on the picture and it still looks terrible. You can have the best intentions, they will still not let you fight. And I was really nervous. And then we went to the doctor, and then finally then he looked at it and he said, okay, if you continue with your therapy, how you're doing it for another I think it was 4 weeks, I see no reason why you cannot fight, man. That feeling, it's such a release, and we stick to the plan. I met the doctor actually one more time at the UFC 199 event, and we were talking, and my symptoms were gone. That was my major concern, because when I felt it in my fingers that they got numb and that my grip got weak, and that was totally gone. And then also having the clarification and then knowing I could fight, and man, it was, as I said, it's like Christmas for myself.
Nick, that's awesome. I'm so happy you're able to fight in this card, especially because I know how important it is for you to be on a card when they're in Germany, to show not only the fans, look, I'm an upstanding citizen. I'm not some thug who wants to punch people in the face. I am a really high-level citizen that does this as a profession, and you need to respect the profession. That's huge for MMA stance in Germany. It is a tough battle, and most Americans don't know, most people in the world don't know how tough it is to get MMA into Germany and to keep it there. There's always somebody in there trying to push it back out again. And,
Yes.
and it really has that bad stomach. So, man, thank you very much for getting us into Germany and keeping us there, because it's a hot spot for MMA, and I can't wait to see this fight.
Yes, thank you very much.
I appreciate you so much coming on. I gotta apologize to Nima. I told him 10 minutes, and we're at 20 minutes, so I apologize for being so long. But I love your story. I couldn't stop. So
No, thank you, man. It's so cool. I'm talking to Frank Trigg. I wouldn't mind talking any longer. There's a cool thing.
don't say that, because I'll hit up Nima like every week. Like I want to be on a schedule every week for interviews. So you'll get tired of me real quick.
With me anytime.
Beautiful. Thanks, Nick. I really appreciate it. It was awesome to talk to you. I can't wait. Have a great rest of your training camp and have a great time during the fight.
Yes, thank you, man. Thank you very much.